Yo, what is up guys? It is Z here. Welcome back to my weekly hero guide. Today we're going to be diving into FaZe. She's a support and she's meant to be in the duo lane. So as always, let's get into her abilities. Let's get right into it with FaZe's passive, Essence Catalyst. After each ability cast, both you and your linked ally receive a set amount of health over 3 seconds. This does not stack at all, so you do have to wait to 3 seconds every single time. Next, let's get into Psychic Flare. This is just her main source of damage and pretty much her only source of damage, but it is also a blind, so it offers great utility. This will blind the area around yourself, and if you are linked to an ally, it will blind in that area, doing a little bit less damage than the area next to you, if that makes sense. And third, we have FaZe's CC ability, which is her Energy Lance. This is her sustained crowd control. This is just a beam of energy that takes around 8 ticks, and once that you have 8 ticks on an enemy, it will root them for I think it's 1 second and like maybe 1.25 seconds or something like that. Now, this has a lot of good synergy. This ability has a lot of good synergy with Richter. It has a lot of good synergy with Rampage. So it is like the easiest long range stun in the game to hit. Now onto the ability that makes FaZe FaZe. This is her pull, her right mouse. You link an ally, and once you reactivate the ability, you can pull. This has a lot of utility, especially with the way you get a blink, and then the way you get like if you get Galaxy Greaves, you can pull people with you, you can pull people on top of ledges. You just really have to make sure that you don't kind of mess people up by pulling them after they flash already, and then you kind of get them killed. But yeah, do kind of treat this ability as a saving tool and an initiation tool, because you can just use your flash as an extension of your linked ally, like in that clip right there. Like it is very aggressive, and it is just as good at being aggressive as it is for being defensive. And I'm just gonna let the clips play out. I'll actually say this one. So you can throw people over the ledge in the duo lane, and most ledges in the game, but the only thing you can't just walk over and throw people over is the objective walls. For some reason you can't do that, but with moon boots you can, so that's why that item is just essential. But you can make a lot of people very upset with you, because you're just pulling people out of ultimates, pulling people out of CC. It makes Richter obsolete. So this is it's pretty much her best ability. And finally, we have her ultimate, Hyperflux. When this ability is activated, it gives you and a potentially linked ally increased attack speed, ability haste, and movement speed. Now, if you do get unlinked, let's say you get CC'd, this effect goes away, and it'll only be for you. So you have to be careful and make sure you stay linked. Let's move directly into itemization. I highly recommend getting Galaxy Greaves first to abuse just the verticality in this game that FaZe can just effectively use. If not, I recommend Wellspring, but for a second item, Stonewall is always a good choice, since you cannot get people out of their ultimates, and you'll just be another layer of CC. The only reason that you shouldn't get any of these items first is if you are laning into a Narbash or a FaZe yourself, and you need to get rid of that healing, get a 15% or 10% slow, and increase your healing output by 15%. But other than that, I highly recommend Galaxy Greaves. It's a fun item and you'll love it. So let's get into early game laning phase, and now we're going to be talking about optimal positioning and range. I mean, as we get into the early game laning phase, let's just lay down the foundation for success real quick right off the bat. You need to position yourself just beyond the enemy duo's max range, because your E, your energy lance, your root has longer range than any support in the game other than Decker, and you can see that ball coming from a mile away. So this lets you poke while minimizing all of your risk, and they have no engagement window. They can engage you every 16 seconds when your cooldown's down, and every 24 seconds after you pull. So, and also another thing is you really need to utilize your healing. You need to be spamming that Q, spamming those E's, just spamming abilities while your ADC does not have max health. There's no point. Like, why would you not do that? Because your mana regen at this point would be just unbelievable to maintain that. And also remember that your pull, your right mouse, offers you a lot of outplay potential. Like, you will be saving people that do not deserve to be saved. You cannot pull people through walls, but if you have line of sight, you can pull them, and I highly recommend abusing the verticality in the dual lane. Now, as the game progresses, don't underestimate your ability to influence objectives. Your skill sets excel at zone control. You have a blind, you have a root, you have a pull, so whether it's securing objectives like, OP or Fangtooth, or defending just key positions on the map like buffs or enemy jungles or your jungle, your abilities get to dictate and choose the engagements. So you have more range, you get to choose, and you get to choose when your teammate gets out. So now, to wrap this up into a nice neat little bow, is that you're a support and you don't really do a whole lot of damage. So the things that matter is your positioning, your healing, and how you abuse her pull, which is by terrain. That's why I highly recommend Moon Boots. I'm not going to say just going to say it over and over again. So now, you're not going to get a whole lot of kills, so you just have to be ready to be able to save your teammates, and then if you fuck up one time, get ready to get blamed, because you're going to get flamed. You're going to get blamed and flamed all game if you fuck up once. So just be ready for that. And then I hope you enjoy my really in-depth, not really that in-depth beginner's guide for FaZe, and I hope you learned something.